How you going, guys? Welcome to another episode of Wild Game Innovations Australia. Today we're going to walk you through the awesome Night Eater setup, guys, and we're going to go in depth and show you how we fit the bracket to it and how we mount it on the vehicle and how we wire it up. So I'm very excited about this, guys, with our products. They're 100% Australian made, built and designed in the Outback, and we're going to dive in and start setting it up, guys. So with the small Night Eater, I'll show you, give you a run through what you come through in the kit. You come with two Spotlight quick release mounts. These mount onto your Spotlight handle. We have got these parts TIG welded into place moving forward. When we first started out, we didn't, so they're easier again to even fit. We have our thermal bracket with our built-in DC converter with all our knickknacks on it. Adjustable top hat to adjust your angle of thermal in proportion to your Spotlight beam. We have a full set of thermal quick release mounts that come with it, guys. So they are your universal infrared finder and HIC Micro Falcon Lynx series. So that's the squares with the HIC Micro Falcon Lynx. The charging port goes in front of the bolt hole, so you simply plug it in before you clip it on, like so. The infrared finder is the same, guys. Charging ports on the side, and your universals to suit all your thermals on the market, where the charging port is on the side of the thermal or on top. And you can then slide it backwards and forwards to get it balanced. So guys, we're going to go to the Spotlight handles. We'll stay on the table there, cameraman. We'll give you a replica of a Blazer handle. Really popular Spotlight handle on the market in Australia. So guys, when you fit a Blazer handle of these, we've got a 12mm hole in the Spotlight quick release mount to cater for all the handles on the market. So your power beam, your fire stick, your light force, and your Blazer. What other ones out there, guys, they should all suit. So with the Blazer, guys, picture this bolt inside the cab and this bolt on the roof of your cab. The Blazer handle's got an M10 female thread either end. So when you go to the inside of the cab, the best way is to pull your handle off, get an M10 bolt with a nut, screw the nut on so far, and screw it into the Spotlight handle. That's so, guys, when you have the nut, when you're up on top, you get two people. One person stays on the inside of the cab with a spanner on here, and then the other person stays up on the top of the cab and does this up tight. And the idea of that, guys, is when you go back onto the inside of the cab, you put two spanners on there and break the lock nut without loosening the bolt on top. And then you put your handle on or your quick release mount, whatever you want to do. The other important thing, guys, is with a Blazer handle, you put a spring washer on first and then a flat washer. And that helps all this go into place properly. So you just go the bolt straight through the top and you screw it in like so. You need it on the inside like that, guys. Okay, and it just does up tight and clamps down the way we need it to, so there's no movement in it, and it's very, very rigid. On your power beam handles and your fire stick handles, guys, you have a thread sticking out the top of the handle, and you simply just slide this quick release mount straight on over the top. So just say that's the bolt coming out the top of your power beam handle, you just slide that on like so and screw your nylock nut on top, and you just make sure that the nut is facing, I can't find the nut for some reason, so you just make sure the nut is facing like this way, guys, just so the quick release mount can work to its potential. So you do the nut up and you want the nut facing crossways in there. That's so when these two go together, that they don't foul up. The nut, you don't want the nut coming out past the washers. So it needs to be crossways like so. They join together. So that's the Spotlight handle, and this is the bolt going in through your Spotlight. They come together so they don't touch, but they're as close together as they can to achieve the balance you need. Righto, guys, so you receive two of them in the kit, so if you want to run multiple vehicles, you can. We've also found since we've been taking our spotlights off, our lights the reflectors are copying a lot less moisture and heat, and they're lasting a lot better. So this is an example of a light that I've looked after very well. It used to be mounted on my car all the time. You can see where the weather's been getting in there, and then obviously you add a bit of heat or moisture and it can suck it in through the reflector and then contaminate your reflector, and then as you add heat it'll then smoke your reflector. So I'll take you over to the bench and I'll show you a light that I've been using on a quick release mount for 12 months. I'll bring it back over there, cameraman. So you see how clean this light is. The sun's not perishing the paint. The reflector is unbelievable. And it's because they're just not out in the weather all the time. This light's done 12, 18 months work. So it's a really good way to go, guys. You know, these lights are just magnificent and they're so hard to get. So if you can look after them like that, I can't wait to find out how long it's going to last. At the moment, I can't see it wearing out at all. So I'll just chuck this back on the bench and we'll dive into fitting the bracket to the light. So very simple, guys. When you fit the light to the bracket in the kit, this idea is for the big night eater and the small night eater. The big night eater has an M12 bolt going into it, and the small night eater, the 7 1/4 inch, has a 7/16 UNC bolt going into it. So guys, we don't run a spring washer or anything. You don't even have to run a flat washer if you don't want, but we do. We've got a flat washer on this instance, and we just screw the bolt into the light. You can pull the reflector off if you want, so you don't want to damage your reflector while you're fitting it. So we'll just sit that over here for a second. And then guys, next step is have your wires coming out. There's a hole in the side of the bracket. Now on the night eaters, some lights have a hole on the left hand side and some of them have a hole on the right hand side. So whatever side has the hole coming out, you want this wire coming out the same, okay? So in this instance, it's on the left hand side, so we poke our wire through there. We've got the 4 screws loosened off on the side. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you simply, guys, you can poke the light through the big hole there. And you can sit it like so. And the next step is we're going to make sure that the front of the bracket is parallel with the front of the light, and the bracket is touching the light all the way around, okay? Like so. If you're happy with that, just nip up this bolt by hand at the back, push down on the bracket as hard as you can, and nip up this bolt and this bolt, okay? Like so. And now I'm going to tension the bracket around the light. So I'm going to just loosen this off, this bolt off by hand again. Washer's sticking, hanging on a bit there, making it a bit hard. So that'll come off like so. And then I'm going to just push the bracket down that way. That's so as it does up, there's tension on the bracket all the way around the light. Now, you won't rub the paint off your light, guys, if there's a firm fit, because nothing's moving to rub paint, okay? So we simply push that like so, nip it up. We want to make sure the gap is even and the parallel between the stainless steel and the bracket, and everything's firm. Now we're going to put the bracket back on the light. We're going to do this up tight. 16mm spanner does this one up, guys, with the bolt we supply in the kit for the small night eater. And for the big night eater, the M12 bolt's a 19mm socket or spanner, okay? And then we're going to make sure, same thing, that the bracket's touching the light all the way around, both sides, and the front of the bracket is parallel with the front of the light, so then your thermal's pointing exactly the same direction as your spotlight. I'll make sure that's right. And it's just so firm on there, guys, already. It's just so easy to fit. We've been working away at this for a few years now, and we're really honing in on every single component you need to get the most out of your investment and get all this gear working to its full potential. You have the option, guys, of the charging lead staying inside, depending on what thermal you got. So your HIC Micro Falcon Link series, they plug in from the inside, and your Infrared Finder series do the same. And then on your universal, you simply plug your put your charging lead out through this hole, and it can, once it's clipped on, you can plug it in from there. And if you do, you take your thermal off. Another good trick is, guys, just poke this fella back in here, because it's only a Type C lead. You only got to get a bug in there or a bit of dirt, and it may start not it may break the converter or not charge your thermal anymore. Sit him in there like so. So guys, that bracket is fitted to the light. That's ready to go. So then we can just grab our reflector, clip it back on, and simply so that's a power beam example. So just picture that being on the roof of your vehicle. Just goes on like so, guys. It's that simple. If you want to leave it on and you want it tamper proof, you can put an extra 5mm bolt in the middle so that no one can just come along and quickly whack it off. So you can chuck a bolt in either side or put a padlock through there if you wanted to. That's another option you got. And once you get these done up, guys, they never come loose. It just works so well, this system. You've only got to back it off one turn to take the light off the vehicle. So you can run, if you've got a buggy and a car, you can build this whole system with your thermal on. You can leave the thermal on top all the time. And you can, if you want to go from your buggy to your car, you can just unclip the whole system off your buggy and walk over to your car and chuck it on there. Another main thing, guys, is when you got these wing bolts on the side, they're spring loaded, so you can adjust where they sit. So a good trick is, guys, whenever they're done up tight, make sure they're pointing up in the air or 90 degrees. You don't want them pointing down this way, because it could foul up, catch on wires or bolts or the roof of your vehicle. So you just adjust them so they're pointing up there. And once you get them into place, like so, when you take the spotlight off, they only got to back it off one turn, either side, and it comes off. When this is on your vehicle, you don't have to touch them. They don't unscrew with vibration or travel. The wind doesn't blow them around. They'll just hang there. We've never had one come off or come loose, so you can just leave them like so to make it easier to fit the light back onto your vehicle. Rightio, guys. So that's fitted. That's done. Everything's so firm and tight. It's just a beautiful setup. One of my favourite setups, to be honest with you. I absolutely love these little night eaters. Australian made, handmade. How can you not love it? And I've literally done nearly 2 decades using these lights. I bought this light in 2006. I bought 2 of them, one in 2005 and 2006. And I've also got another one that I bought in 2019. And I got a big night eater too. I waited 15 or 16 years for Clive from. I had my name on the waiting list for 16 years. And I'd ring up Clive every couple of years and he'd go through my name in the book. And eventually the heavens came and he sent me one in a box. So, yeah, I've been using these lights for a long time. So, guys, when you want to wire these up, there's 2 ways. There's a few ways you can do it. I'm going to talk you through the ways you can do it and then the way we do it. So if you have your spotlight on all the time and you don't like having your light off, you can easily just run these wires from your converter into here, and you can hook them up to your spotlight wires, power and earth. So this converter will run off any 12 or 24 volt system. So if you're running a 24 volt light, this converter will run off a 24 volt system. So you can simply pull your reflector out, run your wires through the hole, and you can tap them into your spotlight wire. So when you turn your spotlight on, it's powering your thermal. Okay? Or if you like, if you want to hunt with your light off most of the time and you want your thermal getting powered all the time, I'll show you how to do that. So it's simply just your spotlight wires come through there and you hook all these up together. It doesn't matter which way you hook the power and earth up off your globe, and away you go. Another way, guys, is you run power and earth wires from the battery to the converter by itself, and then run your spotlight wires separately. So that means that this converter's got power going to it all the time when the light's off, and you can flick your light on and off whenever you want, and they're on separate systems. Okay, so we're going to walk you through, guys, how we wire them up and everything we do so the wires never break with our bracing plates and all that sort of jazz. So guys, I've started already, got my wires coming out of my converter. I stripped them off and I put a dab of solder on each end. That's so when I crimp this, it's there forever. So we always do a test. We pull on this as hard as we can after we crimp it, and it should not move. If it moves or it slips, it's not done right. So I've done the pull test on both those guys. I'm now going to go to my 3mm twin core wire, and I'm going to join onto those wires, okay, coming out of the bracket. I'll just sit this fella over here. So we've got our 3mm wire here, guys. Strip him back. 40mm. And then we're going to strip him back about 7mm. Put a twist in them. I do put a dab of solder on these at times, guys, but these are a tight fit, so I will give it a go. We don't take any shortcuts in anything we do. We're hell-bent on reliability, so when you guys go on your hunting trip for a week, you've only got a week or two to utilise all this gear. We really specialise in honing in, so when you go on that trip, guys, everything works flawlessly and you can use it all to its full potential. So that's what we're really focused on. My background is I've been a full-time wild game harvester all my life, and growing up and spending most of my time in areas like Cunnamulla and Thargomindah, where you're nearly 1,000 kilometres away from your nearest service. So we go and set a roost shooting camp up, and if we had a breakdown, you're guaranteed at least a week until you can get one part. And then sometimes that part would be the wrong part, and we'd have to wait another week. So my main focus all my life has always been doing all this stuff so switches don't burn out, wires don't break, everything has to work flawlessly, which has been working really good for anyone who wants to take the family way hunting, because the same principle, they're driving up to 1,000 k's or further, and they need the same thing. They've only got a short period of time for all this gear to work, and it's got to work then and then only. I'll just put a dab of solder. Just wait for it to heat up. A bit on the end like so. So give you a look at the tools you need, guys. Like, you need some twin 3mm wire, twin core 3mm wire, twin core 4mm wire. You'll need some red joiners. You'll need some blue joiners. You'll need 2 of them. You'll need 2 screw joiners. And you'll need heat shrink, two pieces cut at 110mm, 11 centimetres, and 1 piece cut at 50mm, 5 centimetres, and 1 4-pin Deutsch plug. So I don't even put a big heap on, I just put a dab on the end. It just really helps the crimp with the joiner. It's all about getting a good solid connection, and the connection not getting any moisture or heat or weather. Everything stays clean and you're right to roll. So we use this piece of heat shrink on here. I'm going to slide that up in here first, actually. So just make sure when you do it, have the wires poke. Best way will be to have it poking out here, because once you put the heat shrink on the joiners, you won't fit it through that hole, okay? So we'll go through here first, and then we'll poke our 3mm wire through the hole, and then we'll put our heat shrink on. We're going to need 3 pieces of this 110mm long, 11cm, because one piece is for this and the other 2 are for the wiring harness that go to the Deutsch plug. I'll show you directly. So we're going to put the heat shrink on. And as you can see, it won't fit in there because of the solder. So what I then do is sit it here without it falling over and biting me. Here's that. This works really good too, guys. That fella in there. Just got to rearrange this here. Of a tight fit. Just fits in there. A little bit painful, but at least you know when you crimp it, it's going to hang on. Like it's really going to hang on. Fella just fits in there too. Do this one first. Make sure he's right in there. Give him another go. We've got really good quality crimpers. Very tight fit. Exactly what we need. Rightio. So that's that fella done. We're going to unplug the soldering iron. We're going to put the heat shrink on. Now this heat shrink, it's got glue inside it, so it seals off around the wire so water can't run down inside it, and we get the connection that we really need. We can do this for you guys. We get a lot of people sending their lights to us, and we fit the bracket to the light and we wire it all up. Even tune the bulb in the spotlight for them and send it back to them in a box. You can see the glue sealed around the wire. And simply push this wire back up inside the thermal bracket. Like so. Down in there, and as the bolt pokes through, nothing fouls up. You can do the same with a fire stick too. You can have it so it unclips and the wires come out the hole and you can plug them in. Rightio, so then we've got the converter wires hooked up. We're then going to run the separate line for the spotlight wires. Simply go through the hole. And I've already got a dab of solder on the end of these. And then we're going to get the reflector with our 2 screw joiners. I'll strip a little bit more wire here so I can separate them a bit more. And we're going to put this fella. I put some solder on these wires too, guys. Just helps all the wires stay together and they don't get frayed. Doesn't matter which way you hook these up to power and earth. Simply take your pick. You can get away with these joiners in here because they're not copping any weather, any moisture, especially if you're not leaving on the car all the time. It's like a little junction box in here behind the reflector. Old Clive's always ran this type of style join on behind the light, so that tells me everything I need to know. And the next joiner. We always burn our bulbs for 2 minutes before we put them in. Clive has always taught me that. Always says in his paperwork when you get his lights, you don't want to smoke your reflector. So I always show you while we're going. What we do is we pull this out. I always sit this on a towel on the seat of my car. When you can unclip the light with our thermal bracket, you can pull the light off and change the bulb on the seat of your car on the tray. And I always set my reflector down like that. Funnily enough, I have had a moth to get in there. When I've had it on the roof sitting upside down, I've had a moth fly in there and then all the dust has come off the moth and he's ruined my reflector. See him like so. And then what we do, guys, is we simply just hang the bulb on the side, up on the roof, chuck it back on the roof, leave it like that, turn the switch on for 2 minutes, leave it burn for 2 minutes. So if there's any fingerprints or oil or contamination on that glass, it'll turn to smoke and it will clear the bulb before you put it inside the reflector. Otherwise that smoke will go in there and it'll stick to your reflector and wreck your reflector. So, we've got our wires hooked up. Chuck the bulb back in. We always put the bulb in and then before we clip it into the light, we always manoeuvre the bulb. We shine the beam out across the paddock and we manoeuvre the bulb around. It's very sensitive. So we simply sit it like so and we just manoeuvre it around till we get the beam how we want it. Then we hold it into place and clip it on. Clive's got a couple of pen marks there to show you where he's tuned it, to give you a bit of help too. Another thing I do sometimes, guys, is I slide a big piece of heat shrink over these wires, because they can rattle a little bit in the back of the light. So sometimes I put a big piece of heat shrink over that as well, just so they can't tap on the aluminium. And the other thing I do, you guys, is I get a zippy tie and I put it around here. This is so the wires can't manoeuvre in and out of the light. They stay the same length all the time. Old Clive usually ties a knot in the wires. That works as well. So we simply put our reflector in, guys. Clip him on. Okay, now we're going to go to putting the heat shrink on and the plug. So we manoeuvre this so that we have the wires, get the measuring tape. We're going to measure 700 mil, 70 centimetres from there to the end of the wires and cut them off. Take this roll out of the road. Put him on the shelf, and then we're going to get this fella and just going to bring him up to here and trim him off at the same length. Rightio. The wires cut length 70 centimetres, 700 mil. Then we make sure we got the power and the earth power on top, earth on the bottom, and they're running parallel beside one another. We get our piece of heat shrink, 110mm long. We go one on. Make sure it's all straight. Like so. The wires are facing the right way. I'm going to heat that one up now. Lock those wires into place. There you go, another piece. We don't heat this piece up, guys. We just use it as a guide to keep the wires together. Don't foul up or catch on anything. And then this piece we heat up last after we put the Deutsch plug on. We slide that fella on. We're going to get our wire strippers. Strip them back 40mm long either side. $7mm for the bare wires. So the DC converter wires are 3mm and the spotlight wires are 4mm. Twist in them. And we got, these are the pins that we use in the Deutsch plug. We've got special crimpers. We don't put solder on the end of these wires. These joins are the best joins I've ever seen. Let me know if you got any good ideas, guys, in the comments or any input. We'd love to hear from you. So it crimps the joiner on all the way around in 4 places. And it hangs on, like it really hangs on. Get my fingers in here, get the next one. And we got it sort of we got a template of how we wire them up. We wire them up all the same. So if you have got one of our systems and you want to know what wires what, I'll show you on the Deutsch plug directly. Same thing, guys, just pull on them as hard as you can. There shouldn't be no movement. Lovely day out here in the bush today. Okay, so how we wire them up, guys. We put this Deutsch plug on the spotlight because it's got the rubber seal on it. It's not going to be, when it's not on the car, it's out of the weather. So that rubber seal won't perish. So we go spotlight power on top and spotlight earth. Spotlight power on the top left. So that's the top with that latch. Make that the top. Spotlight earth on the bottom and left hand side. Push him through till he clicks in. And then we go DC converter power and DC converter earth. So if any of you's got one of our setups and you need to check some wires or wonder which wires what, that's our general run of the mill how we do them. So on the on the male plug that's mounted on our Deutsch bracing upgrade plate, the back right hand side of the plug is spotlight power, and the top, so the top right hand side, if you're looking at the back of the plug, is spotlight power, and the top left is DC converter power. We got them clipped in, guys. Sometimes we put a little bit of Vaseline on there just so that everything slides nicely. We simply put our clip on. Once you put this on, guys, they're very hard to undo. I don't recommend putting this on until you make sure you got everything right. And then just plug it in and out of your socket a couple of times and test it. Slide your heat shrink on, guys, as we finish this awesome job off. So the wires we use, every part we do, it's all there for a reason, guys. This is why people will drive up to 1,000 kilometres for us to come and set their vehicle up. So that goes on the roof of your car. That part plugs into the Deutsch bracing plate. And then we simply put a loop in it like so. With a zippy tie, and they hook through our cutouts in our bracing plate. And as the light rotates, the wires never break or catch or anything, okay? You can spin it around the wrong way and reef on it, do what you want. You can't hurt anything in this system because of the way we've set it up. So yeah, too easy, guys. Hope this is a big help. We're really excited and very proud of our Australian-made products, especially being able to do it out in outback Australia. And we look forward to hearing from you. Thank you.